Yes.
Do you detect or are you aware of any group, formal or informal, behind the gay and lesbian movement?
I know of no group behind it. I mean, the major front group for them is the Human Rights Campaign. And notice how skillful these groups on both sides are in terminology and labeling. It's like choice with abortion. So Human Rights Campaign, doesn't that convey that who could be against human rights, right? And it speaks to the whole issue you confronted in this race.
Well, you'd have to say that the entertainment industry is very strong on
Yes.
the gay side.
Yes.
For example, they had one evening in Barbara Streisand's home and raised $3,900,000 in one 2-hour meeting at her home. Give you an idea of the power of the media. That's also, I think, why the media puts the twist on this they do.
That's right. I think you are taking on a well-funded side, but I don't think there's a group behind that. I mean, in other words, I think things like the Human Rights Campaign and others organize those donors and then have political consultants and others that are going to target their opportunities.
Travis Wayne Goodsell. Okay, apparently I'm not supposed to do the My Mormon Parallel Universe Life After Rick's College video for you. And definitely not the Bond review. We've got a third whammy. Today is breaking news around the world. The Washington Post is worldwide. It has now gone worldwide with the Washington Post now about the ex-Brother Green, who dropped the bombshell yesterday with the letter to Nelson calling for his resignation. And I did the Daily Beast one for double whammy, and now Washington Post worldwide. Boom! So we'll keep wham going in the description below. So let's go over this one. Sarah Pulliam Bailey, did it an hour ago after the Daily Beast. And so yeah, the fan, because it's pointing in the wrong place. No wonder it's not. Lunch was interrupted, and one of those days. The things I do for you. Alright, so let's go over it. A billionaire and tech industry are trying to shape LGBTQ rights in deeply Mormon Utah. You notice it doesn't say deeply conservative Utah, deeply... Yeah, Mormons are now associated with anti-gay. Worldwide. Mormons hate humans. I want to get the whammy on in place of the Angel Moroni, but it would be too small. So I got to figure out where else do I put them. So, from Salt Lake City, Troy Williams, the head of Equality Utah, and once dubbed the unofficial gay mayor of Salt Lake City, was still absorbing the news as he made his way downtown to the opulent Grand America Hotel. His phone had been blowing up all morning with messages about a speech Mr. Bigot himself, Apostle Dallin H. Oakes, had given the night before. When was this? They're not telling us when. Alright, anyway. Oakes is next in line to lead the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. I was first about Nelson dying. Me? No, you will not take credit. And the world's 16.8 million believers. No. My brother lost them. They're gone. I've done the videos. Commonly known as Mormons. In his remarks at the University of Virginia, now we know where. Now we know. He hailed the virtues of religious freedom again, and the importance of LGBTQ non-discrimination laws like the trailblazing LDS leaders, lawmakers, and LGBTQ activists worked to pass in 2015, known as the Utah Compromise. 7 Habits of Highly Effective People was done by a Mormon. And in there, he says you shouldn't be compromising. Somebody loses in compromise. And he says how you win-win. This shows that Utah refused to budge, and the church refused to budge. They compromised. There was no win-win here with this compromise. It bans discrimination against LGBTQ people in housing and employment while carving out exceptions for religious reasons. I'm Mormon, get out. You're fired. See, it was a worthless compromise. He says, I deeply regret that these 2 groups have been drawn into conflict with one another. Why can't they just conform and comply? Oakes said of advocates for religious liberty and LGBTQ rights. Dear God. Just come out and confess, Oakes. Just come out and confess. I've already done the videos. I've shown you given the Heil Hitler. Just come out and confess. It'll be easier after that. To Williams' amazement, Oakes then went on to quote Williams. To Williams' amazement, quote Williams, a longtime activist who in 2009 led Kiss-In rallies. At a major temple in Salt Lake City. And in 2014 was jailed after a sit-in at the state capitol. In a positive way? Kiss-ins. The church banned a gay couple who were kissing on Temple Square grounds. The security came, you have to leave. You're banned from Temple Square for kissing. And that's what gave rise to the Kiss-In rallies at the major temple in Salt Lake City. Salt Lake Temple. Yeah, interesting. More behind-the-scenes information about that. Despite both having worked on the compromise, the 2 have never met. An LDS spokesman said Oakes was not available for comment. He never is. LDS leaders and elected officials in Utah see the state as a role model for neo-Nazi agenda. For balancing what seems to many like competing rights in a deeply divided country. So far, Utah is the only state that has such a law on its books. Yeah. and efforts to replace it on a national level have so far failed. Yeah, because they're terrorists. They are anti-government terrorists, insurrectionists, criminals. Why is nobody watching my channel? Oh, right, YouTube. Many supporters of LGBTQ rights are less enthusiastic. They cite glaring gaps. In the state's protections for LGBTQ people, and argue that religious freedom protections, which were integral in securing conservative support for the compromise, were already strong in the state. For example, Brigham Young University prohibits LGBT students from dating and can deny housing to same-sex couples. Yep. The gay agenda has taken down the church. There's my video. I guess this may be gone. This is gone. Not doing those. Alright, so should I use gay agenda, or people be offended and not understand that I'm being satirical? Should I put LGBTQ agenda? I can put the clip by the prophets on the gay agenda. Clip. There we go. Takes down church. Probably should figure out some sexual innuendo for the title. And can deny how. Okay. Williams still believes in engaging with lawmakers and Mormon leaders as he did 6 years ago. But he has a new source for potential leverage: the state's tech industry. While startups were already springing up between Salt Lake and Provo before the compromise, observers credit the law. And so this isn't about the rich guy Mormon thing. This isn't a third whammy. But it is, they show his picture. Yeah, there they go. So it's with the tech industry, I guess. While startups were already springing up between Salt Lake and Provo before the compromise, observers credit the law and the absence of measures such as a ban on gender-affirming health care or bathroom bills with helping Utah stay competitive in the fight for talent. And now, with newly built fortunes, some tech entrepreneurs want to counter the influence of the LDS Church on social issues. Cancel culture. I did that video too. That cancel culture was going to take down the church. Upon reaching a penthouse suite, Williams was greeted by Jeff T. Green. There he is. There's the hero of the week. Christmas, last Christmas, I gave you my heart. Who founded the online advertising company, The Trade Desk. Green is one of the wealthiest Mormons in the country, with a net worth of about $5.7 billion. He had been skeptical. The compromise had changed the state's culture and had agreed to meet Williams to hear his group's plans to advance LGBTQ rights. For the next 2 hours, they traded stories from their Mormon missionary days. Green, who's now blurring up my camera, who now lives in California, explained that he was preparing to leave the church soon. Ooh, this is an origin story. He wanted to know, what could Equality Utah do with more money? Since 2015, the state had taken other LGBTQ-friendly steps. In 2017, Utah overturned the No Promo Homo law. I'm unfamiliar with that. No Promo Homo law, which prohibited discussion of LGBT issues in classrooms. Dear God, Utah is twisted. In 2020, the state banned conversion therapy. Notice when. And this year, the Mormon governor recognized Pride Month. The new Mormon governor. Notice not the previous Mormon governor. A queer bookstore recently opened within walking distance to the Salt Lake Temple in Salt Lake City. Be careful. Be careful. There are laws on the books that banish strip clubs and such when they are within distances from temples, churches, or schools. Be careful, because you know Utah, you know the church, they will come after you any way they can. Be careful. And at least twice a month in Provo, Utahns can attend a drag show. Be careful. The compromise was also a recognition of changes that were already happening in Utah, now the nation's fastest growing state. The year the compromise passed, Gallup reported Salt Lake City was home to more people who identify as LGBTQ per capita than New York City or Los Angeles. Wow. That puts a whole new meaning on the wicked that Heber C. Kimball was prophesying against. Or about. Wow. Wow. A test is coming. Heber C. Kimball. Let's get you a test is coming. Church of Jesus Christ. The city on a hill. Here's PDF, TIHIE.com. A test. It's in a PDF format. It says Tribulations. And the guy did a copy and paste and has it up on his website, Sign Virgo in the sky is also to mean anything in conjunction with the eclipse. Who is this? Oh, I need this. As much as you were wrong. Interesting. Let me get the link. I'll put it in the description below for you guys. Last Christmas, I sold my soul. Alright, so save it in the Word program here so I can delete the internet. Okay, test is coming in the description below. He prophesies of it. Hopefully, that should be in there. The guy quotes at the beginning from it. La 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 la. Let's see. The following year, Salt Lake elected its first openly gay mayor, and the majority of its city council is now LGBTQ. Really? But the woman is, or is she county? Someone in government office at a Salt Lake level is purposely trying to murder the poor, kicking them out of Salt Lake City. And Utah's already done this with the previous mayor with Operation Rio Grande. So is this who you're talking about? The female? So she doesn't seem like a very nice person. Again, if it doesn't matter which human is in some kind of position of government leadership or other religious position or any community position of trust in the business community, whatever. If they're not going to be good people, anyway, while LGBTQ advocates often view the enormous influence of the LDS Church as an obstacle, some observers say it can be an advantage too. I'm glad they didn't put lemons out of lemonade. Lemonade out of lemon. Mormons make up about 86% of the state's legislature now to protect the church, according to the Salt Lake Tribune, and thus all the courts, even the federal court, to protect the church, while about 60% of Utahns are Mormon. According to the latest figures available from the LDS Church, once Mormon leaders and lawmakers go behind anti-discrimination protections for LGBTQ people, they were able to get them through a Republican-controlled legislature, a rare step, according to Lambda Legal, non-profit tracks LGBT rights legislation. There were people tracking my lawsuit against the church, even Russia. How much further are they willing to go? LGBT rights advocates ban discrimination against LGBT people and accommodations. For example, a Mormon cake baker okay, yeah, they're using an example because the Mormon Church interfered in tampering with the Colorado baker case and the California baker case. And so a Mormon cake baker can legally decline to provide services for same-sex wedding. And no, that's illegal. It violates the Constitution. But some who helped craft the 2015 compromise feel they went far enough. Of course they do. It was a compromise. They can still ban them. Stuart J. Adams, J. Stuart Adams, on Friday in November, State Capitol Adams, who is LDS, said his support of for the law was inspired by a biblical passage where Jesus spoke about the importance of loving one's neighbor as oneself. You can always take scriptures out of context to prove either side. I realized I needed to live my religion rather than protect my religion. Ooh, slam. Let me repeat that quote. I realized I needed to live my religion rather than protect my religion. YouTube, if you're listening, wow. Rising tide lifts all ships, and you find a way to protect everybody's rights. Yeah, no need for compromise. Stick to the Constitution. It's all there. You find your rights are protected with others. You don't need to give extra special laws to protect certain groups of people. The Constitution's already set up to protect everyone equally, unitedly. not separate but equal, united equally. Life, liberty, property, period. Everybody. And yet our government has failed us. He said he understands not everyone is satisfied with the result, but how it came to be is still significant. Adam says he was Williams on his cell phone speed dial when asked about the new protections for public accommodations. He responded that Utah already has a culture of non-discrimination. University of Utah news that I'm seeing all over today. KKK group had gone to the University of Utah, right here in Utah, Mormon, Utah, KKK group, and spread feces on the doors of black students. Feces, KKK, Mormons, Utah. This is a state of discrimination, fostered in part by the compromise. I mean, just look at ex-Mormons. They chose to follow a different religion, and the Mormons won't let them. Just look at my Restoring Joseph Smith's Church of Christ. It's under full attack. Oh, right, YouTube covers up the thumbs down, only lets you see the thumbs up. I mean, we're talking massive attack on that channel. Mormons hate. They're racist, they're bigoted, of people, of religions, all bigotry. And sexist. They hate the poor. That's Mormons. That's the Mormon values. That's the Mormon culture. And they only get mad when you tell them. And that's their tell that, yeah, they are. Because they don't burst down and cry. How could you say that about me? I've always tried to be a good person and live my religion rather than protect my religion. No, instead they get angry and violent. Let's see, fostered in part by the compromise. In the 6 years since law passed, no one has filed any complaints under the law for housing or unemployment discrimination. I warned you, it's coming. The driver's license bill. They now can ID you. It's coming. Remember what they did in Nazi Germany. They had a special ID for those who were gay, distinguishable from those who were Jewish. They now have it in Utah. It's coming. They're waiting. Lying in wait is the criminal legal term. Like I said, be careful. Because those drag shows can be a bit risque. Be careful. The church has already gone after strip clubs to shut them down. They can use that same law to shut down your clubs. Be careful. And they've already got you ID'd. Be careful. Trump is coming back in office because nobody's locking him up. Be careful. Most Utahns expect the issue of banning transgender girls and women from competing in girls and women's sports will come up during the next legislative session. It's already come up in the schools here. If it does, Adam says he will rely on the same strategy that protected the compromise. protected fair non-discrimination. They're not talking about the green guy. The anti-transgender bill, suing the state in case of legalized same-sex marriage. Let's get to stuff about the church. You guys can read the article for yourselves. Washington Post. Already did it for you. Let's see. Silicon Slopes, Provo, Utah, entrepreneurs, Mormon attended BYU, Valley's Libertarian, Petrie, Kalamazoo, liquor laws, just Temple and Provo, inclusive billboards. Be careful. The church. Okay, here's church stuff. James, a Mormon, said in an interview that he hopes the LDS Church changes its doctrine on LGBTQ people. The church does not recognize same-sex marriage and says marriage between a man and a woman was instituted by God and essential to his plan for his children and for the well-being of society. Yeah, that's their religious right. You should not be forcing the church to allow gays. Sorry, First Amendment right. They can be racist, bigoted, sexist, hateful of the... Well, they can't be hateful of the poor. That's a violation of the tax law if they're going to be a non-profit religion. Mormons have been different for a long time. That's a twist on words. Be good, Johnny. There's a recognition you need to accept other people who are different. There's a recognition you need to accept other people who are different. Yeah, Mormons want to be accepted, but they don't want to accept. Limits of compromise. Several people inside the church said, some of the push to go beyond the Utah Compromise has grown out of disappointment with what the legislation has been able to accomplish for Mormons who are gay. Let's see. Microcosm, electroshock therapies just stopped last year. Good God. BYU ended the practice, and in 2016, leaders denounced any therapy that suggests an individual to abusive practices. After you've been doing it for how many decades? In November, a group of about 80 staff and students met for a workshop on how to support. Yeah, the prophets don't attend those meetings. The church always appoints others from the 70 to intercept any messages. Burke came out of BYU, Utah Compromise, Tipping Point, DesNat. Yeah, oh, here we go. They've been in the news lately too. Let's see. The tipping point for Burke came this year when a popular professor on Twitter, I saw this news article, he quit because of the growing hatred of his classmates or his students. Called him a term from the Book of Mormon that is associated with Antichrist. Korahor. Just say Korahor. We all know it. They called him a Korahor. The professor apologized, but Burke received public death threats and other attacks from the DesNat social media movement, which includes the alt-right. Includes? No, they are alt-right. The leader of DesNat has his website, Tiankum's Javelin, at the top of the page. They are not peaceful. They don't want Mormons to be encouraged to listen and obey the prophets. They demand it. They force it. Big difference. And of course, the school did not address the issue policy. Let's see. BYU does not discuss disciplinary matters publicly. In other words, screw you! Get away! BYU police was in the news the other day as well for their being compromised by the school, by the church. As a police force, you're supposed to be independent. You're not supposed to be guards. And BYU police were, in essence, security guards for the school and not an independent police force. And they're like, oh, really? Oh, we're supposed to be independent? Oh, so sorry. Our bad. We'll be better. Dear God. Yeah, so safety and welfare of our students, BS, you mean selected students. Concerns. Now this is interesting. Gay tithing. Worldwide gay tithing. Tithing is a protection racket. It is not a donation, James Huntsman. It is a protection racket. You are promised certain things for being a full tithe payer, and for which you do not get a guarantee, as we are well aware of now. We're in the latter days. Where's our protection? Oops! The sun was setting behind the mountains as Green went into his plans to submit his formal resignation from the LDS Church on December 23rd. He did it yesterday, the birthday of Mormonism's founder. I love the idea. I will be doing a video, I hope. I remember to do a video on his birthday. And an important day for the faith. No, the church always dismisses his birthday. Just like his death. Nope, it's all about when Brigham Young conquered Mexico. He cited his frustrations with church leadership after resigning. Also resigning are his brother and blah 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 and children. No, it was yesterday. So they got the date wrong. It was when he wanted it. You guys, it's the 21st today. It's the 21st, right? It's not the 24th. It's not Christmas Day or Eve Day. So yeah, I guess he planned it, but did it yesterday. I don't understand why yesterday then. If he planned it for the 23rd, why did he do it yesterday? I guess he wanted more press time around the world? Okay, his journey, Proposition 8, yeah. Church got in trouble legally for that one because of interference in Prop 8 in California for same-sex marriage. They faced nationwide backlash, including from its own members, and I still am baffled. Why did Mormons vote for Trump when they want rights for people? It makes no sense whatsoever. But again, everybody assumes that the majority would vote for conservatives. And yet, we have seen Mormons, not just Utahns, coming out and voting for liberal stuff. Dominantly voting. And they vote for Trump in 2020? While Trump is complaining that he actually won where he lost. Something's up. Because our voting machines here in Utah are the very same ones that little kids broke into, hacked into in 2 minutes. The same ones. Utah will not get rid of them. They use the same company. Must be related to a Mormon or a prophet of the church. Let's see, doing his own research, concluded it had been on the wrong side of history. Yeah. Again, my videos. Let's see. Now Green, who lives in California and returns to Utah to ski, spends his Sundays studying philanthropy instead of attending services. You can study philanthropy? I study how to give to people, to be a humanitarian. Don't you want to live it? Before he met with Williams, Green said he was not sure the compromise was evidence the church has evolved enough. Yeah, I just went over it with you. I didn't read the bill. I knew anything that says compromise is not good enough. End of story. For a major progress I had my doubts. I see the progress is windy, curvy road. It's never a straight line. Yeah, the church won't let it be a straight line. Mormon leadership is older than ever, as Green said. Church is led by a 97-year-old prophet. And his successors are 89 and 88. Is that for Ballard? We have to... Where are you? Ah! Alright, so... '89 is Oaks, and Ballard is 93. So yeah, they're talking about ironing. Yeah, they don't have a clue. This is the Washington Post. They do not understand Mormonism and succession in the current church, let alone the original one of Joseph's. And so it's Irene is 88. 93 is Ballard. He's third in line, or second in line. So you have Nelson, 97, Oaks, 89, and Ballard, 93. And then Irene, 88. Or actually, Holland? I just did this on the other video that will not get posted, at least today. Anyway, moving on. Not germane. Not essential to our eternal salvation in this video. Mormons are expected to give 1/10. Yeah, expected. In other words, it's not a donation. The Washington Post gets it as tithe. And Williams said that whenever the church does something that upsets the LGBT community, Equality Utah receives donations that he calls gay tithing. The latest wave of donations came in August after one of the 12 Mormon apostles, Jeffrey R. Holland, gave a speech. I was linked to the video of a Mormon who did a thing about that, thinking he was funny, and I had to remind that person, no, this is not funny, this is wrong. Jeffrey R. Holland gave a speech at BYU where he urged musket fire on issues including defending marriage as the union of a man and a woman. We're happy to take your tithing, Williams told Green. It's not a donation. At the end of the meeting, the billionaire was still unsure exactly how much he was going to give to Equality Utah. He would later donate $600,000. The second one-time donation the group has ever received. See, it's still the second largest. Dude, what's wrong with $1 billion? Or even $1 million? Seriously, 600,000? Why not make it 666,000? I mean, seriously, come on. Is this something you're willing to stand for or not? And then, so yeah, we'll get there. So, yeah, wow. It's now gone world. So, Washington Post, a billionaire and the tech industry are trying to shape LGBTQ rights in deeply Mormon Utah. Sarah Pulliam Bailey, it's 2 hours ago.